Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for being here with me today. My name is Lily, and I'm so happy that you are here with me today. In today's video, I am going to work on my design team project. As many of you know, I am part of TuCasaDePapel's design team. Super fun projects that I have been creating, collaborating with Ibette from TuCasaDePapel. I will have her information linked down below, her YouTube channel, and also her Etsy shop, because we are going to be working with some of her beautiful digital printables. And I'm doing Christmas in July. I told you in a previous video that I would be doing Christmas in July. I had to squeeze it in before the end of the month. I am cutting it close, you guys. I'm going to show you in just a moment the project that we are going to work on. But I am playing catch up. The month has gone by so fast, and I got sick, and so that kind of set me back a week, but I'm all better moving forward. And this is one of two videos, so it's a part one, and there will be a part two, which I'm working on, and I'm hoping that I will have that video in the next few days, but it will be before the end of the month. Okay, enough talking. Let me show you what we are going to be working on today. Oh, okay, let me bring one up, because I do have a few. Look at these clutches. It is a paper clutch, and it is made from a brown lunch sack, you guys. The concept behind the paper clutch is not my idea, and I will have the creator behind this wonderful clutch. I'm going to link her video down below. And this is back from October 2019. And I made about, I want to say, a dozen or so of these, because I had a craft fair that I did in December of 2019. So I made a whole bunch of these, and I made them slightly different. They were a little bit kind of shabby, which I love. But look at these, you guys. I used Ibette's TuCasaDePapel's digital printables to make these. And these are from her Feliz Navidad digitals. Oh, absolutely gorgeous. Look at that. Just beautiful. And I'll bring up the other one in just a second. I'll also, when I flip the camera over, I'm also going to show you what they look like on the table. But here is another one. Just beautiful, beautiful prints. And let's see, here's another one, and it has more of the beautiful reds and greens that are traditional to Christmas, but it also brings in so many other beautiful hues. There's teals and orange, so much vibrancy. Look at these. You guys, they feel like a leather wallet, like a leather clutch. They feel so, so good. We're going to go through all of the steps, the supplies that I'm going to use, more information on the digitals. I'm actually going to do a flip through of the Feliz Navidad pages and also Feliz Navidad ephemera. Now, the ephemera I'm not going to use in this video. That's going to be in the part two video, because in this video we're only going to work on the actual clutch, not the contents of the clutch. That will be in the second video. But I'm going to open it really quick just to show you what it looks like inside. I know I should wait until I flip it over, but here we go. Actually, let's see. Do I show you in the video? I don't know, because it's all made and pieced together. So, but look at the inside. It is brown lunch bag. And can you believe it is? But you guys, what brings this all together, what makes it so beautiful, are the actual digitals. It is, you know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of like a little Mexican or a Latin bag, and it feels like leather. It feels so good. So let me just show you really quick. I'm going to show you the pocket again, and in the second video, I am going to make not a pamphlet, like a traveler's size notebook to go in here. The dimensions are going to be a little bit different from your traditional traveler's notebook, but it is going to be perfect in here. Oh my gosh, it's going to look so cute. But let me tell you what else you can put in this little bag. So here's my cell phone, and oh, so if I were to I could put my cell phone in here. Let's see, what else do I have? Oh, here we go. I can here's one of my credit cards, and then I can stick it in there, and maybe I want to throw my lipstick in here. Throw my lipstick in there. And you know what? I'm ready to run inside the grocery store with this. And once I have the pamphlet in it, I'll have my grocery list, my to-do list, whatever you used your TNs for, it'll be all right here, and I'm ready to go. I could take it with me shopping. I could take it to brunch, and I will be the envy of all the people there. I want you to learn how to make one of these. There is more information about this. Again, the creator of this, we're going to give her props. So if you want to see the original video, go give her some love. And also, just, and then what else? Just everything. All the information will be in the description area below. But if I forget to mention anything at all, please leave me a question, leave me a comment, let me know what you think. And it's okay if you leave me several comments, because if you're anything like me, sometimes you're watching a video and you have a question or a comment that just pops into your mind. Pause the video, leave that question, leave that comment, and then play the video again, continue. And if something else comes to mind, hey, go ahead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 10 comments. I don't mind. I will reply to all of your questions and your comments as well. Okay, I'm rambling. Oh, I just get so excited. Okay, you guys ready? Oh, and before I forget, go get your digitals, because you guys, what I'm finding out is that you guys are purchasing the digitals, but you're forgetting one super important component, and that's the discount code. There is a discount code. I'm going to put it right here on the screen so you don't forget it. It is Lily20, and all that information will also be down below. Use the discount code when you go over to Ibette's TuCasaDePapel's Etsy shop and save yourself a little bit of money with that discount code. Now, it only applies to the digitals, but hey, a penny here, a penny there, it all adds up. And so I want to make sure that you take advantage of my discount code when you make your purchases of the Feliz Navidad ephemera kit and the pages, because these are going to be just in time for Christmas. You can make these for yourself, or you can make them as gifts. Anyway, okay, I'm going to flip over the camera so we can get started. Again, let me know if you have any questions, all right? Thanks, you guys.
Okay, the first thing I want to do is show you how beautiful these digital printables are. And like I mentioned, these are from TuCasaDePapel's Etsy shop, which I will have linked down below. And these digitals are from the Feliz Navidad listing in that shop. These are absolutely gorgeous. Look at these colors. Look at this pattern. What's nice about, what I should say, what I love most about these digital printables and the way that Ibette has curated these digitals is that she's not just using your traditional red and green, but she has brought in some of her favorite colors. And if you have been following her, she loves teal and turquoise just as much as I do. So it's so nice to see how she has incorporated those hues into this Christmas, because that's what this is. These are Christmas digitals, Feliz Navidad, Merry Christmas. And they coordinate so well. The teals, the green, the red, all of those work so well together. I would have never imagined, as much as I love teal and turquoise, I would have never thought to mix them or coordinate them with the red and green, but they complement each other so well. And then the images that she has used for these digitals are absolutely beautiful. There is embroidery work on there that is part of the digitals, as you can see on that one page I just passed. And now this is the part 2. So there are 2 separate digital printable listings in the TuCasaDePapel Etsy shop. You have the Feliz Navidad papers, and then you have the Feliz Navidad ephemera pack. And these are also gorgeous. In the ephemera pack, you'll receive digital printables of pockets and note cards, also beautiful tags. And the colors, again, a mix, a great variety of color. There's even some coral in there. This right here is my favorite. And now, just like I mentioned a minute ago, I won't be using the ephemera kit in today's project, but I want to show you what will be coming in video number 2. And that pocket right there, that digital printable, oh my gosh, that one is my favorite. The size of that envelope is perfect. So that'll be coming up. And then, so we have there's postcards, and there's little, like, you can use those other sections as wide washi borders. So nice to be able to cut up and use all of these different pieces of ephemera when you create your projects. And so I'm going to save those for video number 2. So just a reminder, subscribe so you don't miss the notification for video number 2. This is, again, part 1. I know I don't want to sound redundant and repetitive, you guys, but I just don't want you to miss it. Okay, this is the fun part. I'm showing you what we're going to use as the base of the clutch, of the paper clutch. And it is just a simple brown lunch sack. Can you believe that? So amazing. The link to the original video and the creator of this, where the inspiration came from, her video will be linked down below. And it's just such a genius idea to take some of these lunch bags and turn them into a beautiful work of art. Now, I'm showing you 2 different sizes. You have the regular size lunch bag, which is slightly smaller than the giant one. And I'm going to put them side by side so you can see the difference. And I'm pointing out at the dimensions there on the bag. Now, I purchased these at Walmart, and I want to say that I've had them for, I don't know, 3.5 years or so. Because I started making these back in late 2019, and I was going to make a whole bunch, and then, you know what happens. Other things, other projects, the list just gets longer and longer, and then I set these aside. But I've had every intention of making these pocket journal, these pocket clutches for a few years now, since that first time I made them back in October, November, and December of 2019. So all you need to do is flatten out the bag. So you're going to open it, you're going to kind of pop out the sides, and then it might take a little bit of fidgeting. You want to smooth out the sides and then kind of flatten it out. Of course, the one I decide to show you on camera, I struggle with a little bit, but the other 3 that I made, those were super easy. But of course they were done off camera. I turned the camera on, and all of a sudden things are just a little bit more difficult sometimes. But just mess with it a little bit. We're just kind of taking that and smoothing it out. And then we're just going to lay it flat as best as we possibly can. And then I will take my bone folder, and I'm going to go over all of the creases. Just makes it easier to flatten out. I was really having a little bit of trouble with that left-hand side, but it's okay. We're going to flatten it with the bone folder, and it's going to work out just fine. So see how that bottom flap of the bag, I'm just going to fold it up, and then I'm going to glue it down. And you could see how on the left-hand side, I did create a little tear. I was a little bit aggressive when I was unfolding the bag or opening the bag. But no worries, I'm collaging over that, so it's going to be fine. And then one side is going to look a little bit better than the other. And it really doesn't matter because I'm going to glue those 2 top flaps together, and then I'm going to collage over it anyhow. What I do like to do is when I folded that one flap up, notice how it is just a tiny bit smaller than the one that's at the bottom. I'm going to make that the inside of the pocket, just because it'll kind of hide once that'll be the inside of the flap, and you'll see as I move on, as I continue, what I mean by that. I also went ahead and unfolded the smaller bag just to give you an idea of the 2 different sizes. I am going to use the giant one for my project, but how cute if you were to use just the smaller size lunch bag. So cute. So now I'm going to take my ruler, and I measured at 4 3/4, and that is where I am going to make the fold for the clutch part, or excuse me, the pocket part. So I'm just marking it there so that I can crease it and make the fold. Your bags may be a little bit different. Now I knew I wanted to fold it at 4 3/4 because when I fold it up, there's still going to be plenty of room to take the top flap and then fold that over the pocket. So I did measure this beforehand. So you could see here how that 4 3/4 fold is perfect. And then I take the top, and then that's how it worked out. So I did do some measuring before this, and I knew to fold it at 4 3/4. If you are using a different size bag, just make sure when you kind of fold it over that you still have that it makes it works out well when you take the flap and fold it over the pocket. I hope I made sense there. I hope my visuals are working for you as well. And again, taking my bone folder, and I am just making sure to crease all of those folds and smoothing everything out as best as I can. Now, lunch sacks, the paper is somewhat thin. So be careful. Don't go as aggressive as I did, or you will tear it. I mean, we can repair it by, with a collage or the decoupage that we are going to do in just a moment. But you could see here, this is what I am using to glue those two flaps together. I'm just taking some glue stick and I'm just going to close it. And I will have a list of all of the items that I am using in the description area below. We are going to use, you can use glue stick or any glue to attach or to glue together that top flap. I'm also going to use Mod Podge, and then of course I have my bone folder. I will use an old paintbrush that I had laying around for the Mod Podge, and then my ruler for measuring. The list will be in the description area below, and also links to the digitals also linked down below. So you can see how I've just flattened everything out. The top flap is glued. So the next step is now to begin collaging on the outside of the clutch. The inside, I will also collage, but I'm not going to do the entire thing. I'm not going to do the pocket because that's not necessary. If you are going to be creating these, if you want to collage the inside of the pocket, do what makes you happy, do what works for you. I just didn't think it would be necessary to do the inside of the pocket. In fact, I leave it as it is so that you can clearly see that I did this with a lunch sack. So now I am taking some of these digital printables, and I'm kind of going through and selecting some of the ones that I'm going to use for the collage. What makes it really fun to use these printables is the collage work has already been done for you. And so I'm just going to tear large pieces, and it's not going to take very many to cover up the back of that paper sack or the back of the clutch form. Now here is where I take this paintbrush. I have a little Mod Podge brush. I have no idea where I put it. As I was cleaning up my desk, I must have misplaced it somewhere. Did you guys watch my video on Instagram? I gave you a little sneak peek of what my desk looked like, and it was insane. It was such a hot mess. I have been working on creating other things, and then I was sick for a week, and just stuff got piled and piled, just one thing over the next on top of my work area. And when I finally got to it and I needed to start recording these videos, I was like, oh my gosh, I need to clean up my desk and I need to put everything away. And so I showed a snippet of that on Instagram. So if you're not following me on Instagram, I will have my Instagram handle down below so you can go and follow me over there. I do a lot of behind the scenes on Instagram and just a little peek into my loft and sometimes just, my daily life. So I invite you to go take a look at my Instagram if you haven't already. Thank you. Okay, so you see, I'm using large pieces here. It's not going to take very long or very much to cover up the back. Now, after I have spread out some of that Mod Podge with my paintbrush, I took the piece of digital and put it flat. Well, you saw, I just put it over the lunch bag. And then I took a squeegee or this little spatula and smoothed it over very carefully so that I get rid of any air bubbles or any pockets that might be underneath. And just go over it very gently. I did use copy paper. I actually used HP Premium paper, and I will have that link down below. In fact, I have a link to my Amazon shop where you could see the exact copy paper that I use for printing my digitals. And so it's a little bit heavier than regular copy paper, but it was still thin enough to be able to collage with it, which makes it really nice. Plus, it adds more substance to the bag. So once it's all said and done, you guys, it feels like leather. It's crazy how it does that. And so I do the bottom layer of Mod Podge and then I smooth it over the papers, but then I'm going to give it a top coat. Now, I normally, with the others, I did this and let it sit overnight. But this one that I'm going to, that I'm working on, I didn't let sit overnight. I'm going to show you in just a minute. I use my my heat tool. Air heat. My heat tool to dry it quicker. Of course, I'm not going to show you the entire, 8 minutes it took me to dry it. Just a couple seconds for you to see part of the process. But I take my paintbrush and I'm going to do a coat of Mod Podge over the papers. And you can see it's not taking a lot of paper to cover up the back. I was thinking about condensing this and making it shorter. I wasn't sure if you would want to see me collage or decoupage in its entirety, but it didn't take very long to do. And also, if you are new to collage or new to decoupage, I thought it would be important to show you the process. If you have any questions about this, please leave me a comment down below and I'm happy to answer all of your questions. Look at this beautiful poinsettia paper. And I'm being careful or selective with these digital printables because I want to make sure that once the clutch is sewn in place, oh, by the way, there is going to be some stitching, you guys. And so you'll see that in just a moment. But once I fold the flap over, I want to make sure that the flap and the poinsettia and everything looks nice when I flip over that flap and I make that closure. So there's a lot of turning the pages. So you'll do that. Just make sure you position. What I'm trying to say is make sure you position your papers in the direction that the clutch will be. Okay, does that make sense? It makes sense in my mind. And I do overlap some of the papers just to make sure they really stick down. Get those edges, and it's just a very thin layer of Mod Podge. This 64-ounce bottle of Mod Podge I bought in October of 2019. Can you believe it? I've had it that long and I've not used it up. In fact, this is what I'm using right now is glue. I put it in I'm repurposing a bottle of art glitter glue because I finished that stuff and I wasn't going to buy any more glue until I used up this Mod Podge. Anyway, I poured Mod Podge into that bottle and that's what I've been using. So in October of 2019, I came across the video, the video of this paper clutch, and I was so inspired by it. And I knew that I had a Christmas craft show that same year. And I wasn't sure what I was going to do. And when I saw this video, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to make a ton of these. So I made about 12 of them. And that's why I bought this 64-ounce bottle of Mod Podge. And even then, it didn't take that much Mod Podge to make those other clutches. And they all sold, which is so cool. So that was a successful craft fair. I had so much fun. You know, that was the last craft fair that I've done, like live in person. And that was before I started selling on Etsy. That was, you know, before my own shop. Before my Etsy, I was doing these, I was either doing home shows or I was doing craft shows or boutique shows or fairs. And those were so much fun. But yeah, 2019 was the last time I did one. Now, notice how I took that random piece and put it over in that little section. That is because, don't make this mistake, you guys, I flipped over the pouch or the bag when the Mod Podge was still wet. And so then I flipped it back and it tore the paper a little bit. So don't do that. Wait until it dries. That's why I like to work on this at night and then let it sit overnight. I don't have to worry about it. In the morning, it's nice and dry, and then I can continue with my project. So I added that little paper over it. I just tore a little piece of paper, and now I am just going over it with my thin layer of the Mod Podge. Now, notice how I tore that small strip of paper to cover up where I botched it up. And that tear is bugging me just a little bit. Had I torn all of the pages, you know, had I not used the scissors, it would be okay. But where I use scissors to cut the papers, and then this one here I tore by hand, you could see how it's exposing that white edge, and that's bugging me a little bit. It's bugging me a little bit. I'm going to fix that. I'm actually going to go over it with another little piece of digital paper to cover it up. I know it's so minor, and I'm sure had I not pointed it out, you wouldn't have known unless you're like me and you noticed it. Oh, I could see that white line. And it normally, little things like that don't usually bug me. But I want to make sure that, you know, I do things consistently. You know, if I use my scissors to cut the paper, then I'm going to use my scissors from beginning to end. If I start tearing the papers, then that's the look I'm going for. But for some reason, I just didn't like the way that looked. Anyway, it's not a big deal, you guys. Not a big deal. We could move on, but I do cover it. Anyway, I would love to do another craft fair. So much fun. And there's farmers markets here where I've seen stands that have beautiful handmade items. But one that would be specific to paper crafting. I think that would be fun because then your audience or your guests are familiar with your type of work, and so it would be better that way. You know, you get visitors or guests or, you know, customers that are familiar with the paper crafting industry, if that makes any sense. All right. So see how I covered it up? That makes me much happier. So now I'm taking my heat tool and I am going to dry it. I'm not getting too close to it. And I edited the time it took to dry, and it was about 8 minutes. And I made sure that it also cooled down and that it was not tacky to the touch. And so look at how beautiful. I love that sheen that it leaves behind. I really do like the way that looks. So now I'm going to do the inside of the clutch, and I am going to collage only on the top half, you guys, only the area that is going to be visible, because remember, we're going to fold up that bottom half to create the pocket. So I only need to collage the top section of it. So I'm going to cut away at some of that excess just to get rid of some of the bulk. If it's too bulky, it may not stick down to the Mod Podge properly. And so I'm just cutting out any areas that are too thick. And now I'm going to smooth it out. Notice how I grab the spatula to crease and to fold down because I misplaced my bone folder. How do things disappear when you're working with them like right in front of you? Don't know how that happens, but and I don't know where it is. I don't think I bring it back because I think I lost it. I may have dropped it on the floor. I don't know. You're only seeing the nice part of my desk. You should see what it still looks like all around. I've got papers and all kinds of stuff all around. I keep saying I need a bigger or a larger work area, but guess what? No matter the size of your work table, you're always going to end up working in an 8.5 by 11 section of your desk, right? And that's what happens to me. So bigger doesn't actually mean better in this case. Protect your surfaces. Now, I do have a glass mat that I could have used, and it would have been so much easier. And the reason I did it is because I get a lot of glare. I do have two overhead lamps, and when I use my glass mat, you just get a lot of that light reflecting off of the glass mat. But protect your surface. I did mess up the board, that faux wooden board that I have underneath. I did. There's Mod Podge all over it. There's paper that's stuck to it. But I did bring in some book pages just so I could use them to spread that Mod Podge when I was smoothing it out. So just protect your surfaces, especially if you are going to be working with Mod Podge or white glue, because you can also do this with some white glue. And so now just piecing the inside together. And I know a lot of you that are familiar with decoupage and Mod Podge or collage, this may seem tedious to you, but believe it or not, I do have a lot of viewers that are starting crafting in doing paper crafts. And so thank you for choosing to be here on my YouTube channel, and I appreciate you. I appreciate you for spending time and watching my videos, and I am so thankful that I have some crafters, paper crafters that are seasoned crafters. And I learn a lot from you too, on your comments and your recommendations and your suggestions. Thank you for sharing your knowledge with me. But I also want to pass that along to a lot of our viewers that are beginning in this paper crafting journey. So there you go. It's for everybody, all levels of paper crafters, you guys. This paintbrush, I think I got it. I think it was free. It was free. It was in a goodie bag that I received from I think it was a home show that I went to, and you walked in and you got a goodie bag and there was a paintbrush in there. That was years and years ago. I've never used this paintbrush, but it came in super handy today. And I do have a mason jar with water in it, and that is where I will put the paintbrush so that it doesn't dry out with all of that glue. In fact, it's still sitting in there because I have forgotten to wash it out. But it works really well to use a big brush like this. It made the process go by so much quicker. And then also having a spatula like this also helps. You want to make sure you get rid of any air bubbles or pockets. Once these are all done, you guys, they look like little presents. So because once you fold them up and then you wrap, I used velvet ribbon. So on some of them I used green velvet, and then I also used red velvet. And after I tied them up, they looked like Christmas presents. And I know I'm a little bit late in the Christmas in July. This is a project that I wanted to work on earlier in the month, but I knew what my schedule looked like, and I thought for sure I would have it right around the middle of the month. But then, you guys, I got sick, and you won't believe what I got. I got strep throat. Can you believe that? At my age, strep throat. I've never had strep throat in my life, but I got strep throat, and as soon as I felt the symptoms, I went straight. I drove myself to the urgent care, and yeah, they gave me the antibiotics, and I was on antibiotics for a week. I stayed away from everybody. I didn't work. I did not craft. I did nothing but sleep, because I don't think I have felt such fatigue in such a long time. I was so tired. And after about day 3, I was feeling so much better, but it did set me back 1 week. And I noticed I wasn't feeling all that good. A week ago, so this is a few days before I started feeling ill, I went and I played tennis with my girls, with my children. And I woke up and I wasn't feeling 100%. And I am a morning person, you guys. When I get up in the morning, I get up and I'm so full of energy. I'm ready to conquer the day. But when I got up that Sunday morning, I was feeling maybe 75. And so I felt a little bit off, and I blamed it on seasonal allergies. But I got dressed and we went to the tennis courts to play tennis. And something was off, but I couldn't figure out what it was. I still kept blaming it on the seasonal allergies. And then after the tennis game, I came home, and I was about to, take a shower. And then I sat on my bed and I leaned back and I took a 3-hour nap. Now, let me tell you that I am not a napper. I would love to take a nap, but I'm not a napper. There's not enough time in the day for me to take a nap. And it had been years since I had taken a nap. Years, you guys. No exaggeration. It's been years. And I fell asleep for about 3 hours. And of course, I get up and I'm feeling kind of weird, that like groggy, like, is it morning? Is it night? It was weird. It was a weird feeling. And I thought, wow, that tennis game really took me out, plus the seasonal allergies. So that's what I'm blaming it on. So then I go and I shower up, and then afterwards I had something to eat, came back upstairs to my bedroom, sat on the bed, and I was out. I'm like, what is wrong with me? Why am I so sleepy and just so tired? And this is all new to me, again, because I don't know what it feels, I don't know what strep is. So that was Sunday. So now Monday morning, I wake up with a pounding headache. In fact, I had a headache all night long, and I don't suffer from headaches. So for me to have a headache is very rare. And so the moment I felt my head pounding, I was like, something is wrong, something is not right. So I Googled my symptoms, and I did have a couple people I know that had strep, and so I kind of knew what the symptoms were. So I Googled it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I think maybe that's what I have. And so at 8 o'clock in the morning, I get up with a pounding headache, super tired. The last thing I wanted to do was get out of bed. And I drove myself to the urgent care, get tested. Anyway, so now you know. So I'm on the meds. And I slept for 3 days. For 3 days. I did nothing. Okay, look at how cute that is. So you saw how I dried it. And notice, this is why I didn't do the inside, because it's going to cover when I fold it up. And now I'm going to run it through the sewing machine. Oh my gosh, it is looking so good, you guys. Look at that. And so I am going to go over to the sewing machine and I'm going to stitch that pocket flap, and then I'm going to stitch all the way around except the bottom. And I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to show you what that looks like. Did I already do it? Did I already come back? Oh no, I haven't come back. I haven't done it yet. I'm still going to go do it. Okay. So, okay, here it is, all stitched up, and I used a zigzag stitch, and I used gold thread because it is my favorite thread to use. And so you can see the zigzag stitch right there in that top, in the pocket, that top edge of the pocket, and then I zigzag stitched on the sides and then the top closure as well. And look inside, that's what it looks like. And I'm okay with it showing that it was made from a paper bag. And now I'm going to fold over the flap, but I'm not going to fold it over and crease it. I want to give it a rounded shape. So I'm just going to kind of manipulate that with my fingers and kind of give it a round shape to it. Now you could, if you want to, just fold it and crease it, but that's not the look I want. I want it to be rounded. And so I shape it, and then the others, I did the same thing with the others, and then I let them sit overnight, and it, believe it or not, it holds that rounded shape. So look at how beautiful that looks. No one would ever think that these came from a lunch sack. So now I'm going to add an eyelet on the flap, and that is where I thread the velvet ribbon to use as a closure. And so the top flap in that section there is about 6 inches long. And so I am measuring. If you want to eyeball it, you could. But it all depends on the size of paper bag that you use. And so just marking it, and then I will use my crocodile and punch a hole. And then set, I like using these large eyelets that have that nice wide rim around it. These are by We Are Memory Keepers. And so if you would like to see or use some of those, I also have those in my Amazon store. And that link is down below. And look at how beautiful that looks. Now, I debated, you guys. I wanted to keep adding more embellishments to the clutch. I wanted to add maybe some pom-pom trim to that front edge. And I was undecided. I'm still undecided as I look at it now. I'm still not sure if I'm going to leave it as it is or if I'm going to add some trim. So we'll see in video number 2 what I have decided to do. I may just do it on one just to get a feel for what it's going to look like with a little bit of pom-pom trim or some fringe trim. But for now, I'm going to leave these as they are. I'm not going to add any more embellishments. I want to show you, the whole purpose of this video is to show you how easy it is to make this clutch. It looks complicated, but it really isn't, you guys. It is a few basic steps, very few supplies. You've got your beautiful digital printables, and then you have a paper sack and some Mod Podge. And you just get to it and you start collaging, and that's it. And if you don't want to stitch, you can glue things down. But you know what? The stitching adds so much beautiful detail to it, and it makes it sturdier and probably more longer lasting. So if you're able to do the stitching, it is just absolutely gorgeous. Just so beautiful. I hope you guys like this. I hope you enjoyed making this as much as I have enjoyed showing it to you. And here are a few of the digitals just so you could see more of what this looks like. Absolutely gorgeous. Don't go away. I'm going to flip over the camera. I want to say goodbye to you, but I want to say goodbye to you looking at you in the eye. So hang on a second. I'm going to flip over the camera.
Okay, you guys, before we finish up, I realized that I didn't show you the clutches in the video. I just spaced it. So I just wanted to give you another peek at what the clutches look like. I know the intro part of this video was a little bit long. Sorry, but I just had so much information. Okay, but here is another look really quick at that. There is this one, and these were all made with the Feliz Navidad. Hello. Okay, you guys, I want to say goodbye, but before that, I want to give you one more sneak peek at these beautiful clutches. I realized afterwards that I didn't show you a close-up of these four in the process video, and so I thought I would give you a second look at these. And oh, and these were all from one set. The Feliz Navidad digitals from TuCasaDePapel. So stinking gorgeous. And of course, just know that when I finish working on video number 2, which will be here in a few days, before the end of the month, for sure. So I will show you a close-up of the completed clutches and also the insert that will be a part of each of the clutches, so you will get a better view. So if you are not subscribed, you guys, subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss that next video coming up, and like and share. You guys, I want to get to 10,000 subscribers before the end of the year. I think I'm almost at 7,000. I would not be here without you. You guys are amazing. So many hearts for you. So with your help, I can get to 10,000. So if you like it, if you comment, but more than that, if you can share it with your friends, oh my gosh, that would be amazing. And that will, of course, help me get to other viewers on YouTube to help grow my channel. So if you like this content, share it with your friends. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you in a couple days. Bye.